Here in New York City many years ago, this lady, a lady of considerable means, she left her home in New York City and went off to Paris with her 2 children, leaving her home and her maid. Before she returned, the maid took all of her furniture and took it away. When she returned, the apartment was there. Rent was paid every month. But there was no furniture, not a thing in it. She employed a private agency, told the police department, told all the authorities in New York City, and plus her private agency. At the end of a few months, they did not turn up one thing concerning that stolen property. She came to see me. I said, all right, you're seated there and I'm seated here in my apartment, aren't we? Now, you are not seated in my apartment. You are seated right now. Close your eyes. You're seated in your own apartment. And you had a grand piano? She said, no, I had a piano, but it wasn't a concert grand. It was grand, but not a concert grand. And on it, I had my pictures of my 2 children. And I had pictures of the wall. She told me what they were. And the furniture, I said, all right, refurnish that place as you left it. You have a memory. She did. Now, when I stopped talking, it's because you have refurnished that place to me. Now you're going to go in, and you aren't going to see your apartment from my apartment. You're in your apartment. And you can feel your chair, and get off your chair and feel the piano, and see the children, the pictures of the children, and that's what you're going to do. She agreed she would do it. And then, we simply broke the spell. What did it take? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? That week, she went to her bank on Madison Avenue. As she was coming out of the bank, she had a past history of a little mental state where she was put away for a while because she needed psychiatric treatment. And the bars on this window reminded her of her past history and therefore addled her for a while. So she came onto Madison Avenue and turned south instead of turning north, where she should have. When she discovered her mistake, she was at the end of the block. When she got there and discovered her mistake, she looked down, and 2 very familiar ankles were standing right before her. She came up to the face. That's her maid. And the maid spotted it and started to scream. She went over to the maid and grabbed her before the light changed and hailed the oncoming taxi and said, you're taking me right now. And the maid, who could have killed her, she was so big and strong, was so reduced to impotency because of the discovery. And the maid took her to the place where she had stored that furniture. She said, I'm not bringing action against you. I want my furniture. And she got it back into her own apartment within the week. A seeming mistake was the way the Father laid her. All I ask is to go to the end. If I go to the end and give thanks to the end and for the end, it's done. Now let the one in the depths of my own being devise the best means to take me to that end. The end is where I start. The end is my beginning. And that is a story that I know from personal experience. So do not attempt to devise the means and tell the one that you ask to pray for you how it should be done. He will lose all interest and turn his back and say, go elsewhere. You don't go into a doctor's office and tell him what he should do. If you go to him because you trust him, well then you either got to trust him and continue, or you're going to leave him. Well, if you go to someone that you really believe who knows how to pray, don't tell him how to do it and what means should be employed in order to do it. He is going to go to the end if he knows how to pray. The end is where we begin. In my end is my beginning. And we're always ahead of our evidence. So I go to the end. I see the whole thing done and then drop it and let it happen in my world.